Hello, welcome back. So today I'm going to be showing you how to use the AI Generative Fill in Photoshop in order to successfully make a banner that is suitable for any widescreen website. So as a graphic designer, I'm sure most of you will have come across this before, where essentially you've got to make an image fit into this very wide space up here, but the image you've been provided is something more like this. So it's either square or it's badly cropped or it's too small. So as an example, if I try to use this image that I've got as it is, as you can see, it doesn't exactly fit. So we need to really shrink this down and then somehow fill in the sides. So, as a starting point, what I would normally do before the AI tools were around is I would first expand this to the right size. So I'm going to use a little bit of guesswork here, and I'm going to say that we need more room here on the left than we do on the right, so that we have more room kind of up here. So as an example, if I just save this as a new image as it is right now and try to upload it, this is roughly the right kind of positioning. I'd need to move them down a little bit, but they're about the right kind of scale. So if the rest of this background was filled in, that would be perfect as our web banner. And then we would just make this text black instead of white. And we'd be able to see it just fine on top of this kind of white backdrop here. So traditionally what you would have done is you would have tried to take the areas around the back here, so kind of all of these back areas, and I would have traditionally done something like a content aware fill. So when you would do this, you would right click, you would press fill, and then you would select content aware, which works really well for small elements. But as you can see, if you try to use it for complex things, you end up with questionable results. So instead, we're going to use the new Generative Fill tool. So with the Generative Fill, you have a choice. You can either let it try to fill in an area by itself, just using the AI algorithm, or you can give it a little prompt to help it along. So as an example, I'm going to try it over here to see what it can make. It's going to look at the rest of the image we have already and try to fill in this area. So we select an area, we press Generative Fill, and we press Generate. And by default, it'll give you a few different options. So you can see we've got 3 options here. They're all a little bit weird, to be honest with you. So I'm going to try now giving it a prompt instead to see what it comes up with. So we're going to write clean office, white desk, window in background. And let's just see if that gives us something a little bit better. Okay, so have a look at that. So already that's it's getting much more realistic than it was. So now it's decided to put a chair behind her, that's good. A desk, now that to me looks really realistic. Other than what's on the monitor, I don't quite like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use this, and then I'm going to actually remove this monitor and replace that with a window. So I'm going to select just this area now. Okay, so it's taken some creative liberties. I would say the perspective that it's got going on here is not quite right, and it's just this weird detail going here. But I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to use that as my starting point, purely because I actually really like this plant. But yeah, so now what we're going to do is essentially, so that it doesn't get confused with this black area here, what I'm going to do is crop this image down, because essentially what the AI tool does is it looks at all of the content around it, including background layers. It doesn't care about layers. This is all kind of piled on top of each other. So what we're going to do now is select this and Generative Fill. I'm going to let it do its thing. I'm just going to let it generate and see what happens. Okay, so this is slightly more natural, as it's kind of continued the windows up now into the top. So this one is good for some elements, but bad for others. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this section here and I'm going to copy it into a new layer, and I'm going to delete the rest of them like that. Now I'm going to merge these together because it's starting to get a bit messy. You can see in my layers panel here, and I'm also going to remove the black background so that it doesn't get confused. Okay, so we've got a much cleaner image now. Now that we've kind of got more content for it to work with, we're just going to generate and see what happens now. Okay, so again, you know, it's taking a little bit longer than I expected to get this kind of perfect result. And it does take a bit of a human touch here to make it perfect. But, you know, you can work on it bit by bit. I'm just going to generate one more section up here. Okay. So, look, for me, that is looking natural enough for something that's not really going to be seen on screen too much. I think that's looking fine. So I'm going to merge these down. And I'm going to zoom in on little areas that I'm not quite a fan of. So for example here, it looks kind of like a weird line going across. So I'm actually going to go to Fill, and I'm going to use the traditional content aware tool and just see what it thinks of that. And there we go, that smooths it out a little bit. And you can do this for all areas that you don't feel quite natural enough. Let Photoshop have a go at doing them. Or for, you know, you can obviously do it the old-fashioned way, have a slightly more tailored approach to this, which, you know, that also works well in some areas. So for this, I'm going to use the stamp tool in order to just fill in this area with a nice bit of white blur there. So not perfect, but pretty good. And again, for this bit here, oh no, come on, let's get more precise. I'm trying to be lazy here, and I'm trying to be quick, but sometimes you really do just have to go in and do stuff a little bit more manually. There we go. Now, before we expand it to the left again, I'm just going to fill in this bottom area down here. So select Generative Fill, and I'm going to let it have a go at doing it itself. Wow, look at that. So straight away, it kind of knows what we're going for here. I think I like this one because of the length of the laptop here. The only thing I'm not sure about is what is going on over here. So it's got some of these reflections messing up a little bit here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go in and manually just draw, end this reflection early there. So there we go. I know it's a little bit cheaty, but that's looking good. And just to, I'm going to merge these, and to finish this off before I extend it to the right and to the left, I'm just going to manually use the stamp tool to bring this window up a little bit here, up to the top. There we go. And this won't be perfect, but I don't think anyone's going to be zooming in and seeing this much detail on this. So it's just getting the idea across of this scene. So have a look at that. Not bad, not bad. You wouldn't know at a glance what's been going on here. So the last step is to extend this again to the left, like that, like so. And we want to fill this gap in. So I'm going to give it a prompt for this. I'm going to try and get it to generate a human character sitting on the other side. I don't think this is going to work, but let's give it a go. So, woman sitting on laptop across from others at desk. Let's see what happens. Okay, all right. Wow. Oh my God. Pinocchio is sitting at the desk with them. Incredible. There's Sharon at the back there. Perfect. You know, this is a very friendly office scene, but for me, that's not quite realistic enough. This is better. This is just really something. Basically, no. Don't use it to try and make full human characters. You could do it the old-fashioned way. You can go to stock image websites, or for me, I'm going to be lazy and I am just going to make it into a plain office. It works better for inanimate objects mostly. So I'm going to say cluttered desk with window continuing in background, something like that. Let's see what happens. Okay, cool. So this is already that's really interesting, that perspective. I love that. This is clearly the winner in this situation. I don't think it's quite perfect. We've got a few little AI distortions here, but let's try and break these down bit by bit. Let's use this as a basis because I like the way it's kind of continued this desk along from here. That's really cool. And we're going to change this to, well, let's get interesting, pineapple on desk. So this guy here, he loves pineapples. He really brings them to work every single day. Yeah, it's quite nutritious. I understand. Go for it. Whatever floats your boat. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Oh, okay. Oh, it's on the back. It's just not right. It's just not right. There's something really wrong with that. No, we're not going to go for pineapple on desk. Who are these two? Why is there a TV there now? What are you thinking? What are you doing? This is fine. I know it's not perfect, but let's just see how it looks. Okay, so the right hand side looks good, the left hand side not so much. So I'm just going to try one last time, and basically I'm just going to get to redo this whole area. I'm just going to say continuation of desk and window in background. Very interesting. Interesting is not always good though. Let's be honest. It is not always good. Sometimes we just want plain and simple, and we don't want interesting. So what I'm hoping is this shows you the limitations of the AI and how it really does need somebody guiding it in order to, you know, do a good job, I suppose. So I'm actually going to cheat a little bit here. I'm going to make a new layer and I'm going to blur it like so. Then I'm going to select our main content here, which is these two characters, and I'm going to kind of use a layer mask in order to kind of blur the background out a little bit. So I'm just going to inverse that, and yeah, so what you end up with is a slightly blurred out background. Let's change that to 20 so it's not quite as extreme. The only thing I don't like is this plant pot here, but I'm going to try that and see how it looks on this website here. So I hope from seeing this you can see that, you know, this would have taken a long time to do if I was trying to do every single element of this manually. Photoshop's generative AI is fantastic for just quickly filling in details. You can use it for prototyping, trying out new ideas. But I think, you know, going to this from this is a big difference, and I'd recommend giving it a go. This isn't just good for web banners. You can use this for social media posts, for even like magazine ads and stuff. There's so much content that this can be used for. So I'd strongly recommend downloading the beta and giving this a go. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Cheers.